What's up, everyone? Jamie Bateman with Labrador Lending here. I want to shoot a quick video today and kind of go through a case study about a dud we had, a deal where we did lose money. I know a lot of people like to talk about their wins, myself included. Those are easier to talk about and make us look like geniuses, but to me, if you haven't lost money on a deal, you probably haven't done enough deals. And this one, I think there are some key takeaways, especially for newer note investors, that I think you'll get some value out of. And so we have literally 3 slides, including the title slide here to run through. Hope you like the video. So the story here was a quote-unquote performing CFD land contract in Gary, Indiana that we purchased for $6,000. You can see the numbers here. UPB was a little over $8,200. Now I would probably say overpaid for this deal. But at the time, we were pretty new in our pretty young, I guess if you will, in our note investing career in business, and hadn't bought a whole lot of deals. This was really one of the first ones. So really wanted to understand the mechanics of how to buy a deal, how to board with a servicer, all that stuff. So I'm not viewing this as a total loss because there's some education here, but I certainly wouldn't do a deal like this again. So purchased this performing CFD or land contract that was in Gary, Indiana. As soon as we purchased it, she stopped making payments. The borrower had been caught up at the time, was paying. It was performing. There were a few missed months here and there in the previous 12 to 24 months, if I recall correctly, but definitely was a performing loan at the time. And sometimes just the sale of an asset can trigger the borrower to stop paying and maybe test the waters a little bit. I'm not sure if that's what happened here, if it was more personal circumstances that caused her to stop paying, but she stopped paying. So we sent a demand letter 2 months after we purchased this deal. She was unresponsive for a few months, and then the borrower fully reinstated 4 months after we purchased the deal. So this is going to play into one of the key takeaways in a minute. So borrower was unresponsive for several months after reinstating, wasn't paying, and we came to find out that she actually illegally sold a second land contract on the property. She sold it to a really nice gentleman who I actually had some contact with. Whole story here, and she ended up selling the land contract to him for 3 times the amount of her own land contract. He ended up putting tens of thousands of dollars into this property. Currently resides there as far as I know, but essentially in my mind ripped him off. We consulted with a couple different attorneys on what route we should take, and which ended up playing into some of the costs here as well. Borrower eventually reinstated a second time, and we tried to offer her cash for keys or cancellation of land contract. Tried to get the property from her since she was not living there, didn't seem to have any interest in actually caring for the property, even though the land contract specifically spelled out that she had to live there. It was to be an owner-occupied property, and she had no interest in doing that with us because she was making, $500-600 a month from her borrower, and not even paying on her $104 monthly payment to us. So you can see why she didn't want to get rid of her deal with him. She reinstated a second time and then had spotty payments after the second reinstatement. So essentially the entire time we held this loan, I would call this a lumpy payer, if you will. So she'd go dark for 3 to 6 months, fully reinstate, go dark for another 3 to 6 months, fully reinstate. These can be some of the worst deals you can buy, and you can't always predict it, but we'll get into the takeaways in a minute. So we ended up selling this loan on PaperStack not too long ago, and just decided to cut our losses. So additional details, when you dig into this, we held this loan for approximately 16 months, might have been 17. Servicing and legal fees ended up costing us over $1,100. We sold the loan for $5,400. You know, when you account for the broker fee to paper stack, you know, all the extraneous fees, especially the servicing fees that when you're paying Madison or any other servicer for a non-performing loan, well, specifically Madison, the difference between a performing servicing fee and non-performing servicing fee is substantial. So instead of $20 a month, it's like $90 a month, something like that. I believe this was escrowed, so I think it's it might be 75 plus the 15 for escrows, but regardless, if your borrower is not paying on time for 3 months in a row, you're paying a non-performing servicing fee, and on a loan where the P&I is $104 a month, there's no room for profit. So we ended up selling this, lost $1,000. The total, actually the IRR was 11%. I think that shouldn't be total return. I think the total return was actually closer to negative 16%. The IRR was negative 11%, just to be clear. So 3 takeaways, especially for newer note investors. These quote-unquote performing loans that are sporadic and catch up a few times per year can really destroy your returns due to the increase in servicing fees. And this is especially true on low dollar deals like this one. And then you throw in your legal fees and you're kind of stuck. You can't do a forfeiture. You know, she reinstates, so it's a performing loan again, but you're paying non-performing servicing fees. So, you know, from a servicing standpoint, it's a non-performer. From a legal standpoint, she's not delinquent. You know, for a few times a year, she's not delinquent. So you're kind of stuck there. Second takeaway is I put so much time and energy into this particular deal with her individually as well as her borrower, who I was really trying to help. I was trying to take back the property and then potentially do a seller finance loan to the occupant. That would be a much better deal for him, but it just didn't work. And so third thing to consider with this is doing good deeds versus running a profitable business. And that's what I mean. That really hits on the aspect of trying to work with him, her borrower, because great guy, was really being taken advantage of, in my opinion, and then also trying to run a profitable business. So I tried for many months to work this out so that it would be a win-win, and it just wasn't. So decided to take my $5,400 and put that elsewhere. At the end of the day, I am trying to run a business, a profitable business, hoping to do good deeds along the way as well. But at this point, you know, in this particular case, it wasn't doing anyone good to just hang on to this deal. So sold this. I actually want to touch base with the individual who purchased this and get an update, because I'm still pretty interested in this story. But like I said, it's easy to talk about the wins. This wasn't a huge loss, but and I do think you learn more oftentimes through your losses and quote-unquote failures. And so we're going to talk more about some deals in the future. Hopefully we don't have too many where we have losses, but we're not going to be afraid to talk about those and learn from those. And I'm hoping that other note investors can benefit from videos like this. Check out our webpage, labradorlending.com. Sign up for our free newsletter. It's a weekly newsletter. We put out a lot of valuable information there. Check out the Good Deeds Note Investing podcast. Chris Seveny and I do a podcast together that he's done for years. Chris and Gail Greenberg they did a phenomenal job kind of getting it going, and Chris and I really like doing the weekly podcast, and we feel like we give a lot of value to people, or at least we hope so. If you do enjoy that, please give us a review. And otherwise, feel free to reach out to me, Bateman James at labradorlending.com. And I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks.